Hello friends, today we are going to learn how to migrate storage data with pvmove command and multipath. To perform this practical, we require two storage and one Linux server. Since we do not have storage, we have converted our Linux servers into storage. So we have the storage names are storage 01 and storage 02. To show the redundancy, I have given to Ethernet. We will be using iSCSI network over here for sharing the file from storage. Software used in this practical is Target CLI, iSCSI initiators and device mapper multipath. All these packages are available in CentOS ISO images. This complete practical is converted into 4 labs. The first lab where we will convert our storage 01 server into an iSCSI target server. We will add LVM disk and as well as non-LVM disk. After that, we are going to connect our iSCSI initiator to the target server, and then we are going to configure the multipathing. So this is our storage server. You can see on the storage server, this is a storage 01 and we have 2 IP, that is 192.168.2.126 and the second one is 121. Here we have 2 disks, one is of 4 GB and the other one is of 9 GB. The 4 GB disk we are going to use it for LVM and the 9 GB disk we are going to use for non-LVM partition. This is our storage 2 server. The storage 2 server also has 2 Ethernet. The IP address is 192.168.2.123 and the other one is 2.127. Here you can see again we have 2 disks. One is the 7 GB disk, it is for the LVM partition, and the 12 GB disk, it is for the non-LVM partition. Here you can see the size is big because it is always recommended to have a bigger disk. Now you can see this is the data disk from where we are going to connect storage 1 disk to this server. Now you can see there is only one single IP address and there are only the OS disk exist on the servers. Let's start the practical on first let's log into the storage 1 server and install the Target CLI. So this is the package that is required. Let's start this Target services. Now we are going to create the LVM partition. We will create the LVM partition on the 4 GB disk. First using pv create, then we will do vg create and then lv create. So using the Target CLI we are going to start the configuration of iSCSI server. First we will add the blocks to our backstore. The backstore is a folder which stores the blocks. So we are going to create a block device over here. So we have created 2 block device. The name of the block device is S1 S and then LAN. The S1 is the storage name and S indicate it is a non-LVM partition, and here you can see S1 is a storage name, L indicate the LVM partition. This name you can give anything, but to identify whether which disk is coming from which server, I have used this name. Now let's create the iSCSI target. So this is, you have to go in iSCSI and then you have to create an iSCSI target. I have given the name storage01 and the server. Now we will create the ACL. ACL is access control list. Now we have created an ACL in which we have mentioned that only this client, that is data01 colon client, is allowed to connect to our iSCSI target. Now we will go to LUNs and we will assign the LUN which we have created in backstore to the iSCSI target server. You can use CD to move from one directory to another. You can use LS to list everything. Here you can see, using CD I am moving from one directory to another, and using LS it will give you the complete configuration details. Here you can see the backstore's details. Here the backstore details. Here you can see the LUNs mapped. So let's save the configuration and exit from this storage1 server. Let's log in to data1 server and then install the iSCSI initiator. Okay, the initiator package has been installed. Now we have to change the iSCSI initiator name. Here we have to give the same name which we had allowed in ACL. Now after this we have to start the services. So there are two services, iSCSI and iSCSI D. Now we are going to use iSCSI ADM to discover the LUNs, to discover the target servers. So first we will check with the first IP address, that is 192.168.2.102. Here we can see we are able to discover the iSCSI target with both the IPs. Before going ahead, let's check the disk. We only have an OS disk assigned to the server. Now we are going to connect our iSCSI initiator to the target server. Now let's see whether the disk is created. You can see the disk exists over there. Now we will connect it via the other IP address so that we can configure multipath. Now you can see there are 4 disks. Now let's configure multipath. So for configuring multipath, you need to have device multipath mapper, device mapper multipath. This is the package that is required. So the installation has been completed. Now we will copy the multipath configuration file. You can find the multipath configuration file in etc shared document doc multipath device multipath and multipath.conf. Now let's copy this file to etc folder and let's check the file. What are the entries exist in the file? So I will only see the file lines which are uncommented. So you can see there are only 4 lines that are uncommented. The multipath service is not started, hence the drivers are not loaded. Now we will start the multipath service. The service name is multipath-d, and now you can see the disk assigned to the servers. You can even see the S1 L lung 00. So this is the LVM disk which we have created on storage, the LVM disk. And the second one is S1 L S LVM 00. So this is the non-LVM disk. So now let's create the LVM on the partition, that is MPath A and MPath B. So first we have done PV create on both the partition, then we have created VG and then LVM. Now let's make the file systems on the servers on the partition. So we have completed the first one. Now let's do it on the second one. So we have completed on the second partition also. Now let's create the folder and mount the directories. So we have mounted this directory, and now you can see these are the two disks. The one is 4 GB, the another one is 9 GB. Let's move to our next practical. This is lab 2. In this lab we are going to extend the LVM storage LUN from 4 GB to 6 GB. Before starting this practical, let me just put some data in the data to partition. Data to partition. Using dd command, I have generated 11 GB file, and now you can see the partition is full. It is 100%. Now we are going to extend the same partition on storage, from storage. Let's exit from data 1 server and log into storage server. Here on the servers I have already added one disk, but it is not visible till now. So we need to scan the host. So after scanning the host, we will be able to see the disk. So there are three hosts, 0, 1, 2 and 1 and 2. Now you can see the new disk is assigned to the server. Now we will create a PV on it and then extend our existing partition, that is iSCSI partition. And after that we have to extend after extending the VG, we have to extend the LV. So here you can see I have extended the LV also. Now let's log into the target CLI utility and check whether this disk is visible or not. So here you can see the disk size is changed from 4 to 6 GB. Since we have extended the LVM partition, we do not need to do anything on this target server. Everything will be automatically. Let's log in to the data 1 server. Here you can see in multipath still only 4 GB disk is visible and 9 GB. So now we need to scan the blocks. We need to scan the blocks which year of, since we are going to extend the Empath B server, so we need to scan the Empath B blocks. So now the scanning has been done, but still it is not visible in multipath. There is one command. After executing that, the disk will be visible in multipath. That is multipath resize map Empath B. Now you can see the size has changed to 6 GB. Now we are going to extend our partition. You can see in LVM also the disk is only 4 GB. It is showing 3.9 GB. We need to initialize the PV by resize command. After resizing, you can see the extra 2 GB space has been added. Now we are going to extend the LV. Now we are going to extend the LV. And now we are going to execute XFS crew so that it can reflect. So you can see the partition size has been changed to 6 GB. Now we are going to perform the next practical, that is lab 3. In this practical we are going to extend the non-LVM LAN. Before extending, let's create some data on the LVM disk. Using this dd command, we will generate some data on this partition. This is the non-LVM LAN. Now you can see the 90% disk is utilized. Now we are going to extend this partition. Let's go to the storage server. And now we have added the disk, but it is not getting visible, so we need to scan the host. The process is same. Now you can see the 1 GB disk over there. Since this is a non-LVM partition, the process is little different. We need to add the disk to our pack store. First, let's add the disk to our pack store. You can see that disk name which we have given is S1 is this storage name, whereas S is indicating that non-LVM LAN, and we have given LAN 002, and we have given the disk. Now we have to assign this disk to this target. Yeah, just you have to go in LAN and we have to assign the disk. So first backstore block was created, and now we have assigned the disk. Now just save the configuration and exit. You can see now there are 3 LANs assigned. Now let's exit this, save the configuration and exit this target CLI utility, and let's go to the data 01 server. Now let's scan the host. Here you can see there are 5 hosts. The first 3 are the OS disk host, and the other 3 and 4 that are the multipathing one. Not the multipathing, the 2 iSCSI target servers connectivity. So I have scanned the first host, the second host, and the third host, but you can see the disk was not visible. Now I will scan the third and host number 3 and host number 4. After that, you can see the disk will get automatically visible in multipathing. We don't have to do anything. You can see there is one more path created, and path C. Now we have to do PV create, then we have to extend the VG and then extend the LV. Here we are going to extend the LV with the R and N. That means we don't have to execute XFS grow command. It will resize with the same command itself. Now you can see the partition. Here it is increased by 10 GB. The disk utilization is 81%. So here you have seen there are 2 different ways of extending the disk on storage disk. If it is an we can extend the same disk which was an LVM disk, and we have extended the non-LVM disk. Till now we have learned how to connect. First, how to create a disk using target CLI as an iSCSI target, and then to connect to the storage. Then after that we have configured multipath, and we have extended the disk with 2 different ways. But now what we are going to do, we are going to move the data of disk from storage 01 to storage 02 using pvmove command. So let's start the practical. So now let's exit from data on disk and let's log into the storage 02 servers. We are going to repeat the same steps over here. We are going to install the target CLI. We are going to start the services. And after that we will be creating the partitions. First we will create the on backstore block device, then target server, then ACL, and then the LANs to the target server. But let's create first the LVM. So we will use the same thing. First we have created the LVM. Now we are on the target CLI utility. And we will create a backstore block device. Here we have created the backstore block device. The name is S2S. S stands for non-LVM partition, and that LAN 00. And the second one is S2L LAN 001. This is for the LVM partition. Now let's create the target server. Here the target server name is storage 002. The first server name we kept it storage 001 now, but this is storage 002. Now we have to create the same ACLs. So let's go to the ACL folder and create the ACL. We will only allow this initiator, that is data colon client initiator, to connect to our server. Here the name should be same. If you do any kind of changes over here, we won't be able to connect our server to this second storage to target. So now assign the LUNs to our target. Now you can see the block store to block store. This is, then after that you can see this is our target server, this is our client, and these are the two LUNs that are assigned. Now let's save the configuration and exit from storage 02. So we have completed our storage activity. Now let's go to our data server where the data exists. Let's first discover the target device of storage 2. So using discovery ADM, iSCSI ADM -m discovery, we can see the target servers. First you can see there are two IP addresses, one is 123 and 127. From both the IP address, the target servers are getting visible. So now let's check the disk. Now you can see till DG SGDG disk are added to the server. Now we will connect our iSCSI target server to storage 2 to our data server. So before doing this thing, let's see, you can see only 3 disk, that is MPath A, B and C. Now let's connect to our secondary storage, that is storage 01. And now let's check the servers. Now you can see 4 more disks added to the server, that is HDH, I, J and K. Now we'll do multipath -L. Now you can see two more disks added in multipath, that is E and D. So we will be migrating the data from the old storage to the new storage. In this practical, we are going to do the data migration from the LVM LUN to the LVM LUNs only, and the non-LVM LUNs data to the non-LVM LUNs. So we are going to move the data of S1 S LVM 0 and S1 S LUN 02 to S2 S LUN 00 and S1 L LUN 00 to S2 L LUN 001. So this migration we are going to do. So before migration, let's do the PVS, and you can see the disks are not assigned. You can see the disk was not visible. Now after creating PV, we can see the disks are visible now. and we will extend the widget partitions. So here we have extended. Now let's do PVS, and you can see the disk. Now you can see the data disk is completely used, this one is completely used, this one is used, and now we are going to move this disk. Sorry, we are going to move the data to the storage to disk, that is DNE. So here is the command pvmove -b. B is for blockwise. Now we are going to monitor it. So this is the command to monitor the disk. So you can see the data is moving from one partition, one disk to another disk. So you can see it is completed. Let's move the data from the second disk. Here you can see the first disk has got free. Now let's move the data from the second disk, that is empath C. So we had moved the data, and now let's execute. Let's monitor it. It takes some time. Now you can see both the disks are completely free now, and the 12 GB disk is now 2 GB free and 10 GB is utilized. Now we are going to do the LVM disk. So the LVM disk is also completed. Now you can see all the 3 disks are completely free. And now we will start removing the disk. Now you can see the size is 21 GB and the data to size is 12 GB. Now here you can see that we are going to remove the empath A, that is a 9 GB disk. The second one is empath C, that is the 1 GB disk, and the last one empath B, that is the 6 GB disk. So we had removed it from we have removed this disk from our volume group. Now we have to remove it from the physical volume also using pv remove command. So after removing the disk from the PVs, then you have to remove it from the multipathing. Before removing the disk from the multipathing, ensure that you have taken the output of multipathing path name, so that you can remove the disk also. So here the multipathing -f command was there to remove the path, and after that you have to do echo and then says block device name block and delete it. After doing this thing, you can successfully inform storage, you can remove the disconnect the storage 1 from the server. So here we have successfully removed the disk, and now you see there was no downtime and all the data is up and working. The server is up and working fine, and can see the data also exists on the partitions. Let's check the D message, because D message is the kernel scratch pad. So you can see there is nothing continuously writing on the D message. Let's check the log messages. Here you can see the log message is also, there is nothing continuously writing on the log message. Now we will unlock from target storage 01. Now let's do the multipathing -ll command. Now you can see only the two disks, both the disks are from S2, that means storage 2. The storage 1 disk has been removed from the system. Now here I will show you how to check whether the path is failed or not, because we have configured multipathing on this server, so you should also know what happens when the path fails. So we are going to do this practical on our Data1 server. Here we have logged into the storage server, and here we have two IP address. I have downed one Ethernet over here. After downing the Ethernet, now we will, here we have downed the Ethernet, and now we will go to the server and check the multipathing status. Now you can see till now everything is working fine. The multipath keeps on trying and checking the status of the disk. Now here you can find the failed and faulty running. So this tells you there is one issues on the servers, but you can see the data. The data exists on the servers. So this was the way how we come to know that the path has been failed, and then we have to do our troubleshooting to up the path. Now I will start the Ethernet service on storage 02, and let's check what happens. You can see in multipath it is still failed. It will keep trying for some time, and after that, once it sees the path, it will activate the path. Now you can see active and running. So this completes our practical. You can find all the details in my blogs. I have created a blogs where you can find each and every commands. So you can refer my blog for more details. Thank you.